Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be going over episode 13 of what we have going on for this series. As y'all can tell, there are no more alliances. In last episode, we had the occurrence of a new country that I like to call the 15 colonies, which is now going to be called East America. That's what they're going to be calling themselves for a little bit, but for now, that's what we're going to be calling them. They now take up all of this and they're a little bit aggressive as they'll declare war onto the French again. Um, yeah, they'll declare war onto the French again, and as we see, they're going to be going into the territorial waters all the way down here, which I'm just gonna highlight already. This is basically all of their territorial waters from all the way up here, and including into the um, Great Lakes up here. They control around half of the territorial waters up here. So now we will focus on to what we have happening over here, and we are going to be seeing the French, or actually the 15 colonies, go to war with the French, as the 15 colonies will quickly surround previous colonies that did want to join them, but the French heavily he said no to, and they had sent troops onto their own borders, or onto their own island. That way, there would not be any more rebellions. And yeah, the French don't like this. They're coming in hot. They had their entire navy over here ready. I mean, at the ready. I mean, and yeah, considering how they basically control the entire Atlantic, or used to control the entire Atlantic, now they can only control from here to here, which is not a very good look for them. Though we will see them completely spanning across the entire Atlantic Ocean, and the naval situation just got worse because now the Iberians are realizing what's happening and they're like, oh crap, we should not have given them their land or these pieces of land. So they'll allow um, French ships to be over here. Where's this from last episode? They'll allow French troops to, or French islands or stuff like that. They'll allow them through. Now we're gonna get in a little bit into a skirmish where the French want to get back to their island, so they'll push through the 15 colony boats or the Eastern American boats. As they'll quickly begin to take over, they'll quickly regain all their own sea territory that was recently lost. So they'll regain around this much, and they'll continue to push in as they do not see them as a threat, though they did lose to them. So take that what you wish for. Though they will continue to expand into their own territorial waters, specifically the 15 colony ones, which was basically the American Revolution. So yeah, which the French are completely surrounding because they want it back. Boom. Yeah, they're pushing in real deep as now they'll completely cut their naval system into two different parts, or actually three in a second. They'll completely gain access to their capital city and they'll take over all of the northern areas, especially up here, which does not work out for them, they do control that little bit. But again, take that for what you wish for. Now we will see the Floridans, which is a very good name for them in my opinion, quickly begin to push back through naval superiority, and the French will immediately retaliate and they say this is an act of war, but the Floridans will say no, first you did it first because you impeded on our own territory, and they can't really deny it, so they'll just declare war. So they basically only have connection to the Bahamas, the northern Bahamas, and the northern part of the Cuban territories up here, which don't really work out well in their favor after realizing most of their control onto these areas is basically non-existent. As they just wanted to try it. They never really wanted to join it. They just wanted to try it as a phase or something like that. So Their coast is barely holding on right here. Yeah, it's not really looking that too well for them, as they'll completely take over the coastal areas, or they'll regain not much naval superiority, as the French will back off and send even more forces down south to be able to help out and take control of these lands, as they will quickly gain these lands. And yeah, Dominican Islands will quickly switch sides, as yeah, they have quickly fallen over to the French. They don't like you no more. And they're slowly starting to reach your peninsula, as they're already expanding on. Well, actually, no, it's a different situation by land, as they are the ones invading by via troops down over here. They're invading into previous annexed territory, but had to give it up in the peace treaty. So they will quickly invade this much, though they will try to make a little bit of pushback up here. It won't be successful, but again, they'll focus back onto land gains, as they'll quickly gain a little bit of land there, here and there. As a okay there, as they'll quickly gain land all the way up here, and yeah, the French aren't that good land wise, so because they're trying to protect themselves from another situation, so instead they'll annex a country. I bet y'all weren't expecting this. You thought Iberia, Germany, Yugoslavia, perhaps even Ireland, England. Um, they do go ahead and annex this country, which will which will go ahead and regain all these lands up here. Um, that's about it for up in North America. And now if we go ahead and go back to the country they're uniting with, um, yeah, they're uniting with the red team, pink, and the Western brown team right here will go ahead and unite with the Eastern brown team. In the case for the French, it was actually more forced annexation. So yeah, it wasn't. They used the term peaceful, though it wasn't at all. Now we'll focus onto a different war, and it will be between what? No, it will be between the Iranians, the Brown Central Asians, and the Russians. Yeah, they like this country right here. They don't like this country though. All three of them don't. So Iran will make the first move despite the earlier formations, though they will quickly gain the most amount of land from this. As you can kind of tell, boom, they'll quickly gain all of these lands, and the rest of the lands will be split among these other two nations. As Russia will get the smallest portion, the rest will go over to the other two nations that border. Like I said, boom. So all these lands will go over to all these separate countries. For example, the largest claim, Iran. Second largest, Central Asia, which I can officially call them that now. Russia will get the smallest portion, as now they will have a smooth slope down here. So yeah, that kind of works out for them, as now they have a very long border with the Iranians and the Central Asians. As again, like I said beforehand, they're on extreme good terms with them. Another country that's not on good terms, though, are these two down here. Yeah, the Indian countries don't like that. So, they figured out something that if they can somehow manage to convince the other Indian team, like if we can unite, then or like if we can unite via alliance, they could survive. Green team immediately accept the alliance. Eastern India, a little bit of hesitancy, though they will still join. Bangladeshans, they will not join at all. The Tibetans will not join. Bangladesh won't, and Sri Lanka will. Yeah. Also, the entire situation going on the between the between the Green India team and these Ethiopians, the Green Indian team has basically decided to give up on colonial claims, as the Ethiopians will quickly annex this portion right here, and the rest will simply go over to the new brown team, which will quickly get invaded by the green team. And this is when they will reach political instability, as we have multiple powers trying to gain hand all the way up here, and multiple countries or regions trying to separate all the way down here, which doesn't really work out in their favor, as now they're a collapsing nation. You don't want that while you're a nation trying to grow yourself up. Ethiopia had a large fall, but they're not dead yet, with a very stern look towards them. Also, the Egyptians, I'm just gonna force them to change color. I don't like the color they are. In my opinion, yeah, green looks better on them. Or would a orange? No. Hello. Come on. We could. No. No, we're gonna go back a few shades. There. Green works perfectly for them. And also the political instability, speaking of which, we're gonna see France letting go a part of that colony. And it's gonna be all the way to the east in Australia, where we will see the first country appear over here. And it will be another green nation. Boom. Yeah, if we go ahead and go to the city layer, boom, we need to make a capital. Yeah, kind of hard to say where they would put their capital, but in my opinion, they would probably select all the way down here. So go and fix the map. Boom. And we could probably just connect it all. Boom. And boom. As now this is what they look like, and that officially puts us as at one new country and like 5 less. Yeah, yeah. And also speaking of political regionals or stuff like that, we're gonna see. I should probably create the shape for these two. When they they're gonna become a isolationist, a little bit of a lighter green, and all the way down over here, Ethiopia, or actually no, brown team will be a isolationist country, and we will have a bit of democracy spreading. Russia will spread the ideology as it'll spread into Moldova/Romania, and um, at this point, Germany. And now, flawed democracy is outlawed into Europe except for Greece, and yeah, yeah. As there's only one more fascist nation in Europe, and we all know who it is right over here. As fascism in this world is extremely popular and it works out for many cases, especially over here as they have started to expand extremely well, but not in a way for their own benefit, as now um they've taken over this much land. The French have actually been doing a runaway tactic, and they completely crippled their northern navy, though their navy to closest to their capital is holding on by dear life. As now this is when they will begin to drop down troops into their own country and into the Floridans, and they'll successfully regain Louisiana. Yeah, if Louisiana is captured, which by the way, Louisiana is a major territory over here, along with like these islands over here, specifically the Puerto Rican islands, this Puerto Rican autonomous territory, and all the way over here, we will see the French quickly begin to create a giant spearhead where it will completely separate the Floridan army. Yeah. Yeah. Due to the separation of these two armies, they will quickly become disorganized, and that will put a lot of stress onto these armies. And over a very long period of time, they will slowly cut down to around this, maybe the size. But they will also begin to lose a bunch of land troops over here after the French have decided to put themselves together. Oh yeah, I forgot to delete the ideology. Boom. Anyways, we will finally have several areas of France where several armies begin to island hop. They'll island hop into the Cuban Islands and into the Bahamian Islands, or the Bahamian territories, and they'll secretly take over all of the Bahamas, which leads to the entire collapse of the Florida Navy, even up here, surprisingly. Which will lead, yeah, the French still quickly begin to land into the modern day Michigan territories. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now we'll see a new country join this war, or not new, but we'll see a country who recently gave them land and realized their mistake. Iberia. Yeah, they had realized their mistake on joining the war or giving them massive amounts of land, as they don't want to be enemies with France, though they kind of are now. As yeah, they'll quickly gain all of Delaware, which used to be French, which is now Iberian. And all the way up here, it will quickly just be a giant split between the two, as the French will quickly just gain all these territories, which wasn't really fair at first, but the Iberians will count it as fair, as they did give them a bunch of land. So the Iberians will, or the French will actually request a bunch of territories where they'll say we want all of your Moroccan territories and a little bit of your Spaniard territories up here. They'll agree to the Spaniard territories, though it will not be that much, as they had also agreed to selling their own land up here, where they would barely have any territory up here. And they will quickly begin to sell these territories all the way up here, and it leads to a very disorganized Iberia, though it does lead them from not being able to get invaded by these countries. Boom, 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 boom. As they'll quickly take over these islands that Spain also had given them, which leads to a giant decrease into controlling their Iberian claims into North America. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of all of this, as you can probably imagine that France by this time is gonna win. Sadly, they're not gonna be able to take over all of Florida, though they do quickly begin to again island hop into Florida. And this is when they'll finally surrender after reaching the entire peninsula down here, and they basically siege the capital regions, or the closest areas, closest to the capital. So we will see France gain a bunch of land from this, as well as the Iberians, as France will quickly just annex. Yeah, they've taken back all their island territories, as they don't deem them as friendly anymore, and the French will quickly take notice of that after they release a giant region of Florida up here before taking over a bunch of land. It'll take over the entire Virginian and forgetting the name, Carolina territories. So just go ahead and annex this, which leads to the rest of these areas up here getting annexed. But we will see France create a new country, and um, yeah, the French will create it as a puppet state, but it is also to rub it into the previous country's face. For example, the 15 colonies. Yeah, it's not just a one colony. So, congratulations. Also, all of these territories right here will go over to the Iberians, though. They will give up a little bit territory to the new country right here, which will not be a French puppet state, but instead be its own country. Boom. They'll encompass this much land, and they'll just be green. Now, pink. Boom. They'll be this color of pink, and we'll go ahead and set down their capital, as their capital will be placed right here into the little mitten hand. We'll just go ahead and place down the major city right here. Boom. As now they've regained most of their colonial territories except for Florida, as they figured as a torture method, though either or would have worked. As now we will see New Alliance reappear again, though it's not going to be the same alliance as previously mentioned. It's going to be between, let's do just the regular Star Alliance. It's going to be between the Greeks, right here, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Yugoslavians, the Moldovans. Okay, let me zoom out a little. Moldovan. Fine. The Moldovans will be right here. Okay. They'll be placed right there. And they would have added another country, though they were not permitted to, as they were going to invite Wales. They really thought. We will see one of the most neutral nations in the world join. The Yemenis. Yes, the Yemenis will join on this alliance, as this will soon become a economic economic layer. Boom. And we'll see the same alliance become green. You know what? Boom. And we're just gonna go and just fill it up green. Um, you know what? I got a better idea. We're just gonna grab the entire boom, boom. We can just go ahead and exit and fill these up. Green, green, green. Now the green for these alliances will be economic alliances, purely for economics, though they can both have economic alliances and the alliances. Which means we gotta rename this military alliance. Military alliance. And just economic alliance. I I don't feel like a alliance. I feel like that's right. But we will see ideology appear again, and this is what we have looking like. Yeah. Actually, it's also the Green Star Alliance, Green Economic Alliance, is the first economic in the world, and we will see a new economic alliance appear. It's going to be between the hexagon. Come on, hexagon. It's going to be between the French, the Iberians, the English right here, not the Welsh, and never really thought about it, but we're gonna see Korea join on this. Yeah, Korea joined. Big and scatty. We're gonna see Thailand also join on this. As this is to help everyone in the world, it's optional. But for Greek's economic alliance, it is for previous positive relationships. If you have positive relationships, we'll see if you are allowed to join. Hence why so many countries joined the Star Alliance, Star Economic Alliance. But the Hexagon Economic Alliance is between all peaceful countries. Germany didn't join as they're trying to become neutral, as we will see them flip. Boom, to isolationism. Yay! Oh yeah, over here. Boom. What? How do I... Y'all get to see this. Move selected pixels. We're just gonna move it onto Florida. As this is what they look like now, before and after. As now, we will see new economic alliances beforehand, and this is what they look like now. And despite all the military alliances, we'll see a new one appear. Yeah, new one. Hooray. Heptagon, we're going to see the Heptagon Alliance, and it's going to be between the Floridians, the Germans, and the Irish. Hence why they didn't join that economic alliance. And also, Northern China. Yeah. Sadly, another country will be joining this alliance, and it will be the Green Team right here. As they've been seeing positive relationships and negative relationships turning out with the French. And this is probably going to be it for y'all today, and this is what we have the world looking like. Today was a very short one compared to what I would normally make, and I just realized I don't have my actual microphone pulled up. So yeah, take that for what you want. But this is what we have the world looking like. And let's go and turn off everything else. This is what we have everything looking like. And peace out, boys and girls.